I told Christopher Ward's designer of the 12 that I didn't like it. For some reason, it didn't really resonate with me.
The 12 is, well, it's my baby.
And as I said last year, there was something
about it that really didn't resonate with me. Maybe because of its resemblance to a lot of integrated bracelet designs out there. I mean, it does have a lot of its own unique design elements, like its pyramid texture dial pattern and triangular hour markers and handset, but it's hard to fall in love with in my opinion.
And I still stand by this today. However, Christopher Ward introduced the 12X, which is what the 12 should have been all along. For those of you who have been following this channel for a while now, you may have noticed that I've never once mentioned Christopher Ward. I mean, don't get me wrong, they make great watches, but nothing that really gets me excited to buy one or even talk about on this channel. And of course, the one that I gravitate towards the most is their most expensive offering to date. But before you start complaining about the price, I guess it's too late for that now, but hear me out though. It's one hell of a watch.
Yeah, I'm Will Brackfield, designer of Christopher Ward. I've been at Christopher Ward for about 5 years. And yeah, I do the aesthetic design of the watches. The 12 is, well, it's my baby.
So here's the thing that I noticed from last year when you guys released it, and then my first time seeing it was also at the last year's One of One show. For some reason, it didn't really resonate with me. But when this thing came out,
Yeah.
I'm like, I think this is what the 12 should have been since the very beginning.
Okay, so we had this plan before the 12 came out.
Now this statement really stuck with me. Something similar to this can be said about the iPad and how it was originally planned to be released before the iPhone. However, in the case of Christopher Ward, they developed a whole roadmap that led to the release of the 12X, which makes a lot of sense if you've been following their recent releases, with the original 12 to the Bel Canto, all the way to the Moon phases, and now their newest and I'd say their flagship, the 12X.
Not very often do we have a roadmap completely set out for a model before we bring it out. Usually we bring something out, we see how it goes, and then we iterate on it. Whereas this one, we had we launched with the 40mm, we already had the 36 done, and then this was well underway. We were fairly confident that obviously integrated watches, they're not going away. We knew that it was going to be big for Christopher Ward, which thankfully it was. And we also knew that skeletonized integrated watches were just having this massive moment. And so we had already had a skeletonized version of our SH21 that we had done before. So we wanted to use that with some modifications, put it in a 12 case, give it all the kind of features that a 12 should have. One of the main ones of that being is wearability.
And when it comes to wearability, although large on paper, coming in at 41 millimeters in diameter and 12.3 millimeters in height, wears deceivingly well. Along with its addition of a titanium case, makes it feel like you're barely wearing anything. Will explains how
one of the pieces of this design that took the longest was the proportions of the side of the case. SH21's a bit of a big movement because it's got 5 days of power reserve. And when it was originally built, it was meant to be like a workhorse. All the tolerances are kind of like very generous in terms of like you could smash this around and like nothing would happen to it. But with that, you then end up getting a bit of a bigger movement, which is fine as long as you hide it well. So something we did on this watch is, you see the sapphires on the top and the bottom. So that hides about 2 millimeters of thickness. So we kind of got it as thin as we possibly could when it comes to like hand heights and all that kind of thing. But then we tried to play with the proportions. So visually, it wears thinner than it is.
Will is basically a magician. The perceived thinness of the sides of the case is all an illusion and is done pretty well. And that explains the reasoning for the double box sapphire crystals on the front and back side of the case to fit their SH21 movement in skeleton form. And if you made it this far in the video, be sure to stick around to the very end to be entered into our next watch giveaway.
When we did the skeletonized SH21 previously, it was in a C60 diver.
And I remember seeing the C60 he's been talking about everywhere. At that time, I thought the watch was a pretty cool concept, especially for its price tag for fully skeletonized in-house caliber. However, it was a chunky watch, like a whopping 15.85 millimeters thick chunky watch. I mean, I guess it gets a pass because it's marketed as a dive watch, but after refinements to the SH21 and 12 case, I feel the new 12X fuses all these concepts gracefully.
The C60 used to be like absolutely everything for the brand, and then for the last, well, I say 3-4 years, we've kind of expanded. So we've got the Sealander now. We didn't have the Sealander before, so that kind of go anywhere, do anything watch. We've got the 12s. We've now got things like the Bel Canto, the Moon Phase. So kind of we've just broadened everything a little bit, and then the C60 has kind of, it's still like very, very high up on our top sellers list, but it's not the only thing anymore. I know there was some people that were worried about the price of this. There's many reasons why I personally think it's still amazing value, and we still stick to our 3 times markup, which has been something we've done for a long time. But also the fact that the lower priced options aren't going away. We're stretching the range, we're not shifting the range.
This point Will made is super important to take into consideration. Unlike watch brands we're used to seeing like Tudor charging around $5,000 for their diver models, we tend to get a little sensitive when micro brands like Christopher Ward, who already provide amazing value for their watches under the $1,000 price point, list a watch like this 12X for around the price of a Tudor Black Bay. And there seems to be 2 boats people are all on regarding the pricing. 1, what the hell were they thinking charging that kind of money for a Christopher Ward watch? Or 2, this is the pinnacle of Christopher Ward, providing enthusiasts with obtainable hot horology the average enthusiast can potentially own. I'm in this boat. In the end, if you're not fond of the pricing of this watch, it's not like the rest of the watches in Christopher Ward's catalog is affected. So what are your thoughts on the pricing?
I think this really lends to kind of like the collector's mentality, at least for watch enthusiasts, where when you're first getting to watch, maybe it's like something very simple like a field watch design, right?
Yeah.
And then you naturally progress into divers, and then when you get a little bit, more acquainted with what you like and things that you see every single day, you want something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So you move into the moon phases, move into the 12X, and yeah, it seems like the natural progression for that. I love that.
We found something that we didn't really expect before, but we're getting people that started with the Sealander that build their way up, but now we're getting people that are coming down. So people that usually buy the 10, 15, 20K watches coming down to buy Bel Cantos and things like the 12X. So we're kind of appealing to these 2 different ends of the spectrum.
And it's this shift as we grow into this hobby of watches. At least for me, I know exactly the kinds of watches I enjoy owning and the ones I can appreciate. However, there's always a watch that comes up along the way that gets me thinking, I wonder what it would be like to live with a watch like this. If you made it this far in the video, congratulations. You have a chance to win this watch in collaboration with ChatterTrade. ChatterTrade is a forum and marketplace all in one. Unlike platforms like Reddit that lack an official marketplace, ChatterTrade fills in this gap by offering a space where users can discuss all things related to watches, similar to a traditional forum, while also providing built-in marketplace features. These features include autobump, market filters, and user reviews, making it easy for users to trade their watches. So if you're interested in winning this watch, here are a few rules to be eligible. 1, subscribe to my channel. 2, follow me on Instagram at Clicky Bezel. 3, tag a friend on my giveaway post on Instagram. And 4, comment and upvote on the giveaway post. After that, you're in. We'll draw the winner and reach out to them via email on. Best of luck, and we'll see you on the next one.